Are we going to get started?
Hi, everyone. Just waiting for a few people to join on here. But today we have Ronnie Walter with us. My name is Cherish Fleeter. I'm the founder of Art Licensing Show and also creator and licensing artist myself over at Something to Cherish. And I have known Ronnie since we started the LinkedIn group years ago. And Ronnie's been such a wonderful coach and mentor. She used to be an agent with her husband with Two Town Studios, and now she is a full-time art licensing artist herself, and author and coach and teacher, and she's just been so generous over the years. I'm so excited to have you with us today, Ronnie, and I know you have a lot to share with us in terms of helping to propel the art licensing career to the next level, being proactive.
Yay.
And today's event actually was prompted by our 3rd anniversary for artlicensingshow.com, which I just am so grateful for all of you. We have such an incredible group of artists and art directors that are logging in, week after week, day after day. And it's just so cool to get messages from artists that have been in the business forever saying they're getting leads and deals that would have never otherwise happened. And so I'm really, really excited that we've made our 3rd year mark here. And so we're going to be having a little fiesta, a virtual fiesta over on our blog. So if you head over to artlicensingshow.com and check out our blog there, you'll be able to see we have so many cool things we're going to be giving away. And we're actually going to be giving something away at the end of today's little talk that
really
you might only guess what it could be. So stay tuned. And the rules as far as how you can enter and to win are all on the artlicensingshow.com blog. So take a look at that. But I think that is all the announcements that I have, Ronnie. So what do you say? Well, shall we get into the content?
Sure. Okay. First, thank you for having me here. I know this is a really enthusiastic group, and I just really want to help everybody see their career in a different way and to really start to be maybe a little more proactive than we all have been over the years. So I have a few tips, and I just want to go through a few things that we all suffer from as being the uber curious people that we are.
Yes.
So let me start with some of the things I know for sure. I know for sure that the world is always going to need good design and interesting artwork for products. That is a given unless we all move to Mars, which who knows what we're going to need on Mars. But we know that for sure. There are places that need art, and we are the artists that can supply that. We also know that there are tons of artists out there. That is the reality. On the other side of the desk are a whole lot of overworked art directors that are trying to, we're always trying to connect those two groups of people, the right art with the right art director for the right product at the right time.
Exactly.
That's the whole nut of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that the only way that you're going to succeed is to continue to move yourself in front of those art directors in a way that makes sense, that is authentic and compelling for both parties. And I also know for sure that every artist I know hates this part. We hate the, do I have to? Do I have to do this? Yeah, we are not built for sales. We are built for drawing adorable things. And
that's
so,
right.
but that's the only way that this happens, is to get yourself in front of the people that can help you. That may include an agent, but whatever that looks like to you, you got to do this. So I just want to say one thing before I go further is that, just so everybody is clear, there's no magic rule book for how this works, and there's no secret list of art directors, as much as we'd all like the secret list of art directors.
That's for sure.
And even if there was a secret list of art directors change. They go to different companies. So, and one art director is not going to be right for you, somebody else is. Anyway, I digress. But let me ask you if any of these scenarios feel familiar to you. Like putting up your website, making it adorable, putting up your artwork, and then never looking at it again, hoping to be discovered somehow on that website. It happens. Or, for instance, you park your artwork on a website, a portfolio website, you put it on there, you fill out your profile, and then you never go back again and hope to be discovered somehow on there, which could happen. Well, right. Yes, sometimes that happens. You could also put your art on Instagram in a way that you haven't really thought about why you're doing it or how you're doing it or what your strategy is. And it just goes on there and you hope to be discovered on Instagram, which also happens. But again, you want to up your chances of being discovered. Hi, Becky. So if you, or the last thing you could do is spend your hard-earned money or your inheritance, whichever way that works for you, put it into a trade show where you sit and wait to be discovered. So obviously there's a pattern here. Like, can't I just be discovered? Can't somebody just find me? But the other thing all of these things have in common are they are all passive methods of getting your artwork in front of the right decision makers. Any of those might work in exactly the way I described them, but more than likely they aren't. And then all that does is lead to the downward spiral of either the business sucks or I suck or my work sucks or whatever that is, but it becomes a spiral. And so you're never taking any proactive approaches, which brings you confidence and brings you work eventually. And so just to wrap that part up is that, hope is not a strategy. A strategy is a strategy. And so as creative people, we have to be grown-ups and figure out what that is for us and our artwork. So let's use the art licensing show, for example. So we'll use that because Cherish is right here.
Hey, and I can answer any of your questions. We're going to do Q&A at the end too. So if you have any questions you're dying to ask related to being proactive in your art licensing career, go ahead and we'll save those till the end and I will take a look at those and we'll pitch them to Ronnie and see what she says.
Cool. But with the art licensing show, again, you could put your work on there, but how cool would it be if you put it into your weekly schedule or your monthly schedule to go in there, update your profile, update your artwork, reach out to art directors that are new to the scene that you have not talked to before, make connections with both the art directors on there and your fellow artists, because most artists are very kind. If they see an opportunity for you, they might pitch it to you and say, you should talk to so-and-so, and you would do the same for them. So being active in your community and being on there as a participating member will bring you further along in that.
Can I add to that as well? So we have art directors that are joining at off periods through the month, through the week, and you'd be surprised how many art directors are on there at 5 o'clock on Friday or something like that. We get people finding us off the internet, and if they don't know anybody there, they kind of come to the site and are lost. So it really pays off to be logging in. I know Annie's on here. Hi, Annie. She is awesome. Every time a new art director joins, she's one of the first person that reaches out to welcome them, and I would just love to see more of that engagement because that's really is going to pay off as far as getting your name out there. Plus, you can also share portfolios and you can share pieces individually which show up in their feed. So just like you're posting on Instagram, you can just go into your portfolio and pick a beautiful image you want to showcase and just say, share that to the art directors you want to pitch that to, and that will show up in their feed. And if you happen to see that they're on, because you can tell who's on, they're actually going to see that in their feed, which is it's like being able to network in the same room, and you just never know how that connection is going to work out. But being aware of who's in that virtual room is a great place, and you need to be there to be a part of that. So anyway, thanks for letting me add that.
Sure. Well, and the thing that is that I'm trying to find that sentence. Has the commonality of that scenario, as well as what other methods you are using to get in front of art directors, whether that's through email, at a trade show, it's all a conversation. It's all about opening a conversation, which is a lot less scary than I have to do this big giant presentation and they're going to reject me and all of that emotion that we spiral around with. Well, what if you looked at it as a conversation? You're opening this door to have this conversation. with them. Now, one of my favorite quotes is, "Not every conversation can change the world, but any conversation could."
Ooh.
The thing is, I know, isn't that good?
That's a good one. We need to write that down.
Yeah, from the Satellite Sisters, which I have always thought about that, because the thing is, we just don't know which one of those conversations is going to change our world, even in a tiny bit, or the big world. That would be awesome too.
Yep.
So when you look at it as this conversation you're going to have, so here are my big points. Here's how you move from these passive methods that you may be doing, or sort of a haphazard way of working on these. Like, you get all psyched up, I'm going to do this, and then you don't do this. Okay. Right. And I get it, because I'm an artist. All of us would rather do our life's work and draw pictures and talk to people and, isn't this cool?
That's for sure.
But if we want to make this a career and make this part of our income or all of our income, you have to carve out part of that pie, which is your time, to spend doing these kinds of activities. So first thing is, you need to be able to craft a clear and concise message about who you are, what you do, and how they can work with you. So on your website or on the Art Licensing Show or in an email, you need to just lay that out. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is why I do it. Here's how we can work together. And you can make that clear and concise. Don't make them work for that.
Exactly.
And you need to build a systematic, repeatable, and scheduled method of getting in front of people. And that's by putting that into your weekly calendar or your monthly calendar and saying, I'm going to do this. You need to quantify it. I'm going to reach out to 5 art directors. I'm going to spend 20 minutes on the Art Licensing Show. I'm going to spend an hour on LinkedIn looking for profiles. You have to put that in your schedule. Otherwise, as we know, it's like exercise. If you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. Oh, wait, is that just me? So anyway, that needs to be part of what you do on a daily and weekly and monthly basis in order for this to move forward. It would be so great if we could just be discovered.
It would be.
So yeah, and that leads to, you have to identify and reach out to these people. And this is where the magic, or the secret book of art directors, would be so awesome. But it is, from the first day I started licensing my artwork many years ago to yesterday, my job is to figure out, who's this decision maker? How do I start my conversation with them? That is a constantly changing and thing that you always have to do. And that's part of showing up in your community. That's where those people are, or that's where the people are that know those people. And so that is part of it. Not just you want a community because it's really great to support each other because we're all in part of this boat together. Mm-hmm. But it does help everyone to find the right people to talk with and to work with. And I'm a firm believer that when you are reaching out to people, that you need to develop a custom-ish presentation to have that conversation. Mm-hmm. There's a technique that I've been calling the Las Vegas dealer technique of showing your portfolio, which is like, hey, here's some art. Hey, you want to see some art? Here, I'll put on a whole bunch of stuff and you have to decide whether it's right or not.
We've never seen anybody do that before.
And this poor art director was like, oh, so I have to make all the decisions, or I have to sort through all of this. So when you are reaching out to someone in a particular category, you want to craft a really nice presentation for them. It doesn't have to be super slick. It doesn't have to be overly mocked up. It just has to be right for them, pretty right, at least to start the conversation. Yeah. That at least they have some memory of you and go, oh, she sent me some really nice things. Not right for right now, but I'm going to keep her in mind for the next time around. So crafting that custom-ish presentation is really important. It gets
their attention, so that's what you're trying to do. It makes them think that you are paying attention to their company and are interested in their products and their customers, that you're really thinking this through and not just throwing them random art pieces.
Right, like, hey, or making it all about them to figure it out.
Right.
They, like I said, they are very busy people. Yes, and so if you can, as easy as you can make it for them, it also indicates that you, are thinking about this instead of just throwing stuff at them. And it shows that you have an intention of cooperation, that you want to work together, that you want to eventually craft this product line or this single SKU together, that it's going to be the best that it can be, and that you are part of that process and not just the receiver of the, yes, we're going to do this, no, we will not. That you have a place in that scenario. So, and then the final thing that you have to be doing all the time is keeping your art fresh, keeping that website up to date, keeping your profiles up to date, responding to the people that are following you on Instagram, being really engaged in that process. And that's how you become proactive. That's how you don't sit around and wait to be discovered. You decide that if this is really, really what you want, you're going to go and get it. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of work. You need to be consistent and keep reaching out, stay engaged. I love those thoughts, Ronnie. Thank you so much.
Great. Yeah. And it really is. I mean, I'm a little, just ask my husband, I'm a little obsessive about time management right now. And that has to be part of your plan. That it just has to be part of the plan.
What's one key that you're doing when you're looking at your week and you're trying to decide when you're going to block these things out? Like, how are you framing your week? Do you consider like what days they might be more available than other days, or how are you making these decisions?
No, I don't. I can't, because you can't predict that. Because the one thing I know is that we tend to, the artists, we all have similar ways of working. We're a lot more homogenous, even though we all do something different. This group we call the art directors, they might be in the business of making flags. They might be in the business of making bedspreads. They might be in the business of Christmas ornaments. They are all going to be on different schedules and different time frames of their production. And so it is difficult to time those things based on what I believe they might be doing, because I don't know what they're doing. Once you get to know an art director, they might say, I want to see Christmas in June. I want to see Christmas in October. We do not know that. So that's a conversation. And so what I do for my own week is I block out, the things that must be done, things that are scheduled appointments. For me, those might be coaching appointments, a class I might be teaching, or something like that. And then I really block out, I'm going to do, if I have current projects, I need to get this done. So I block that into a chunk of Tuesday and Thursday. And then I might put a 2-hour window in on Wednesday or Thursday to say, this is when I'm going to, and I get very specific. I'm going to do research, or I'm going to, either research a product category that I'm interested in or a company I'm interested in. And that might be how I spend that time. Or it might be crafting emails with a new collection that I've done that I'm going to send to key people that I want. But so whatever that is, I schedule that into my week. But what happens during that time might be different from week to week. But I always know I'm doing something to put myself in front of the people that I want to work with.
That's so important to prioritize that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also taking the time to make sure you're staying creative too, and making that fresh art.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Well, you did mention it, but I think artists get so overwhelmed, and for you and for me, but we get so overwhelmed with the day to day, and then the rush jobs and the frantic things that come up with life, and we do need to make sure we're scheduling some good quality time to reconnect with our creative juices.
Right, and everybody's day is different. I mean, you might have young children that you need to manage. You might have older parents. You might have a part-time job or a full-time job. But if indeed you want to do what you say you want to do, that's part of the deal, even though we hate that.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd rather have somebody go, oh my gosh, I saw that one cartoon on Instagram and I want to do an entire book.
Right.
It could happen, but more than likely it's because I have done something along the lines of putting that in front of someone else and saying, this is what I do, this is why I do it, and would you like to work together? So that's how simple it gets.
Absolutely.
So how are we for time?
We're doing great on time.
Okay.
Have some time for some questions. If anybody has any questions about reaching out to art directors, you've got the expert right here at your fingertips. So
Hey, and do we want to make our little announcement before you? And I assume there's some questions on the chat, but do you want to make our little announcement? Or what
we
do you want to
actually
do?
haven't got any questions yet. So if anybody wants to type in some questions for us, I will be happy to pitch those to Ronnie. But while you're typing, I will announce our next. So we're doing a virtual piñata. If you go to the blog, you'll see. And
It's
if you
super
check,
cute.
Thank you. Well, this was an idea that came across on that Second Thursday group. We always have some great conversations in there that Annie leads, and we are doing a fiesta. So we have a virtual piñata, and every week we're going to break it open a little bit more, and some more fun things are going to pop out. We've got over $1,000 worth of goodies to give away so far.
Oh,
so
cool.
It is, yeah, there's some good stuff to be won, you guys. So make sure you check that out. Watch the email, and we will be sharing more as we go. But and actually, and just in case you're brand new to us, you can see all of that is going to be at artlicensing.show.com. So there's a little pop-up for you. But so drum roll, Ronnie, I don't know, but we're just so excited to announce Ronnie is giving away 45 minutes of her valuable coaching expertise to a winner of the Art Licensing Show Fiesta Challenge. So thank you, Ronnie, for your generosity.
Oh, my pleasure. And, and that can be crafted to what your issue might be right at this moment. Is it about your portfolio? Is it about reaching out to people? Is it about, lots of people I talk to is like, I don't know if I'm working on the right thing, or am I even on the right road in any of this? And so I love to help artists, help with that overwhelm and really craft the next action steps that they should be taking to get where they want to go. So I'm very excited to do that. We did it last time, and it was super fun to work with the artist that won that. And I'm looking forward to that again.
I'm so excited. And I've worked with you before, and I know I can say from firsthand experience that she has awesome advice, and will definitely show you the inside ropes of what's going on in the industry if you have any questions about those things. So if you have questions about agents, if you want to get, or if you just want to learn how to do this on your own, Ronnie's done both ways. So, well, thank you so much. And let's see, we do have we have a question from Viv. And so she's asking if you have a case study to share, Ronnie.
I guess I don't exactly know what that means. Like,
is there a particular, I guess maybe there's a story you can tell about how somebody used these ideas to be proactive to, I'm sure there's lots of stories.
Sure. I mean, there are many stories. And so, so many of these things come about in different ways. And that's why when people ask, well, how do I exactly do this? I think, well, you, like I said, craft your best work into a way that people can see it easily and understand it. You reach out in a simple, easy way to do that. And, a couple of things can happen. They can ignore you, which sometimes happens, or they can come back and say, I really like your work. It's not right now, but stay in touch and keep sending me things. Or they say, I don't think this is right for us ever. But they say that in a really nice way.
Yes, they do.
They do.
Really,
they do.
Some of the nicest people. I mean,
right. And they don't want to break your soul, and so that's how those things happen. Now, I will say, over the years, really, most of my success over the years, and still, is because I've identified a company that I want to work with. And I have crafted a presentation that makes sense to them, that they don't have to. I'm not sending it to them in kit form, that I'm sending them something that they say, okay, I understand this. And then, the next logical question that you want them to ask themselves is, how can we work with her? And what kind of products can we do with her work? Mm-hmm. So you need to help them see that. And so if it's a company that you look at their website or you see them in stores and all they do is super pictorial pictures of, rain boots and Puppies and Flowers or something like that, that's all of their line is really pictorial. You don't send them patterns. It's those kinds of things. I know I'm not answering your question. I'm fully aware that I'm not. But I mean, that's what I mean by crafting something that makes sense for that company. If you don't do pictorial rain boots with puppies and flowers and things like that,
and she also asked a follow-up questions about what kind of art directors are in this community. And I think that ties together with what you were just saying, because it really is the whole gamut. We've got fabric companies, we've got greeting card companies, we have some of the biggest gift companies that you could possibly hope to work with are on here. I mean, it's just the whole range. Publishing, what are we missing, Ronnie?
I don't know. I mean, there are people. I mean, there's flag companies. I worked with the art licensing show. I assume that's what you're meaning.
I think that's what she's asking.
Yeah. But I ended up with a really lovely relationship with a publisher that we're doing books and greeting cards and calendars with.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so that was a really awesome connection that was made because we reached out to each other and had the conversation. Now, she didn't call me up and say, I want to make a deal with you. She called me up, or we connected through there and said, I'm really interested in a further conversation with you. Let's get on the phone. And so sometimes those things happen like that. And that's why when you have crafted a really clear and concise way of talking about your work and writing about your work, when that phone call comes, you're not floundering around going, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out, I have to talk to this person. You already know. You are already secure in what you do and why you do it.
Exactly. And it's a multi-step kind of conversation. This is a long-term sales process sometimes. It can take months or even years sometimes to get these things to happen.
Years. Sometimes, shockingly, years.
I just had one happen that literally, years, but it's awesome because I first met them on the art licensing show site. So I can't wait
and you really do have to take the long view. It's a get rich slow scheme, as my husband Jim Marcotte and I have always said. It's a get rich slow scheme. Sometimes you can have success right out of the chute, but normally it's a process of right work, right time, right client. All of that these various stars have to align, but those stars cannot align if you're not showing up
absolutely
in an authentic way.
And consistently. And Teresa has a great question on that. It says, what format do you use for presentation or for the intro letter for the art director? So
I usually do, depending on what it is. If it's just, I just want to show them a range of a couple of, just this is the kind of art I do, and it's an intro conversation, I might send 3 or 4 JPEGs embedded in the email. If it's something more, or I can send that, and then if they want to see more, I will craft basically a multi-page PDF with either more images or images plus verbiage that's going to explain my thesis, if you will, about what my art's about and who my audience is, or something like that. It depends on that. Or you can, if there's some sort of initial communication, you can just say, here's my portfolio site. You can look at what I do, or you can put up a private gallery for them, something like that. If you're crafting something specific to them, depending on who they are. But that initial thing should often be a general thing, but also that's what I mean by custom-ish. Like it doesn't have to be like they do flags, so everything has to be in flag shape, something like that.
The relief.
But you want to show them things that relate to the things that they are already doing without mimicking. That's why it's hard to make rules about this, because there are subtleties of how this works. And most of it just happens with experience and getting to know people of how they want to see things.
And I would definitely add that it's very wise for you to check their website to make sure that they don't have very specific artist submission guidelines. Because if they do, and you veer off of those even a little bit, they as one art director tells us, she says the first thing they learn about you is that you don't know how to follow directions, and that is not where you want to start off. So no matter how you're submitting, even if you're submitting through Art Licensing Show, I would definitely encourage you to check out their website before you send them that first query email. I mean, it's fine to share with them on the site, because it's, when you share on the site, it's very passive, like we started talking about. It doesn't interrupt them. It's just available to them. It's like unlocking a door. So when they go on, they can see it. So when you do share that link to your portfolio or that gallery that Ronnie was saying that you can make up special, that they can just get in and see it. But it's not interrupting them. So if you want to get their attention, you need to follow their guidelines.
Right. Yeah. Very important. And, you know, they look at those. Yes, I think sometimes people feel like, oh, well, I'm just throwing it out in the air. No, they put those on for a reason, and they look at them, because and I know this from Jim and my experiences as an agent. I mean, when we used to exhibit at Surtex, we had a lot of artists wanting to show us their portfolios. Fair enough. That was one of the reasons we were there. I don't think I ever turned someone away to see their portfolio. I may have sent them away at the time because we were with someone or something like that. But I always, because you never know what's inside a portfolio. You might look at somebody and go, don't know. You open that portfolio and you're just blown away by this amazing artwork. Or vice versa. And so you never know. So they are curious like we are, and they want to discover that next person too. So if there are submission guidelines, that's not a blow off. That's a way for them to manage their workflow. Right. Because there's literally hundreds and thousands of us, and you know, there are fewer of them. So we really need to respect their time and realize that they are inundated. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to create this website, because there was a few art directors that I knew personally, and they got so many artist submissions. I mean, they felt guilty that they, couldn't actually go through all of them sometimes. So, giving them a format that's a lot easier for them to get in and get out and see the portfolios without needing to know like a password for each artist's website. This is one platform where they already have a password and you can just easily share it with them. So, one of our next questions from Doreen is talking about what do we need to put in a portfolio? Ronnie, mock-ups? Well, I mean, your portfolio should, obviously represent your best work. Don't clutter it up with, I don't have enough, because personally, I'd rather see a small quality portfolio instead of padding that it's like, oh, so I did some snowmen, even though they look really crappy. I put them in because I got them done, whatever. But craft your best. If you're on the fence of whether something's ready for prime time, take it
Listen to your gut.
Yes. So a nice, clean, concise portfolio that really showcases your best work. Mm-hmm. Mock-ups, people tend to sometimes overly mock things up or inappropriately mock things up, where you don't have to show them every single way that it could be. And a big pet peeve of mine and other art directors that I've talked to is what we call the cookie cutter approach, where you've done this beautiful floral, and it's like you took a cookie cutter of a picture and a cookie cutter of a couch and a picture, a cookie cutter of a greeting card, and you just stamped it out of your artwork.
They're all the same, and it's boring.
That is not a mock-up shows, even if they don't make what you're showing, you should be able to show how your collection works together, how you design, that you have a sense of how something should be designed. But if you feel like you've picked up a cookie cutter of a sofa and put it on your floral, that's not mocking up a sofa. That is, cookie cutter. That's a drawing. And so just be judicious about that. You don't have to overly mock things up. You just want to make sure that they can see, particularly if you're working in like a pattern mixing story, of how those things actually go together. So it could end up being, if you put, you have your groupings and you put something together in a rectangle, that could look like a greeting card. It could look like a journal cover. It could look like a flag. So you want to just sort of softly put those things together without this whole,
and it's so much faster. I don't know what everybody uses, but I love InDesign. I use that to create my portfolio pages. And our next question is about portfolio pages. So I'll put that on here. And but like what Ronnie said, you can just do a circle, and that can be a clock, that can be a coaster, that can be a plate.
If it's well designed, it's not.
If it's well designed, but if they make plates, they're going to see plates. If they make clocks, they're going to see clocks. You don't have to worry about all the numbers and all the detail unless you have a specific vision for it.
Right.
So, but as far as, let's see, what does this say? When approaching art directors with a portfolio, what is the correct size of the portfolio? And do we need to put in a variety of work or stick to one or two main categories? So are we talking about quantity, Debbie, I think? How many pages? I think that's what she's asking.
Yeah, I think you have to, it depends on who you're approaching, what category they're in. Again, that reflects back to the putting together a more custom presentation for people. And also, you don't necessarily want to give away the store. So if you send them every single thing, for one thing, like I said, they look at it and go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I have time to look at all this. But if you give them a decent initial snapshot, then they can always request more, or you can go deeper into, a bigger gallery or however you're going to serve that up. But, I know there's numbers that float around that, you can't approach anybody until you have 150 collections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's two things on that. You can do 150 collections that no one has ever seen, and you realize nobody likes my 150 collections. So you've spent a lot of time doing things that have not been tested.
Yes.
The second thing is that if 150 collections happens over an arc of time, and it's because you don't do them all and go, okay, puppies, snowmen, blah, 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 I got to get to 150. Those aren't necessarily quality collections. Big collections, or a lot of collections, happen because of the development of you as an artist, as an illustrator, as a person that's gotten a couple of deals, and you do that. When we were representing artists, I would rather see 20 fine, interesting collections to show somebody, instead of waiting for the 150, because more than likely those 150 are going to need some work. So it really is in that it depends category. And only you and your the people you work with, or whoever you're using to help you craft some of these things, can make that determination. But okay, this could be a big topic, and I know we don't want to keep you all here forever, because Cherish and I could talk about this forever. But I see two tracks of licensing. This is a big concept. Okay, one track, and I haven't come up with a really super great name for this, but I would call this one track commodity licensing, if you will. Those are the people that are really, really good illustrators that show up for every, they do seasonal, they do social expression. They're going to be putting out new collections all the time because they're just really, really good illustrators, and they're meeting that market for the things that need to be replaced all the time. Gift bags, greeting cards, Mylar balloons. I mean, all of the paper tableware, all of the stuff that they just need to be refreshed all the time. And there are people that are really good at that.
Yep.
And then the other track, and those people are going to present things differently than track two, which is what I would consider a conceptual artist who is coming from the concept, whether that's humor, whether that's a certain technique that they use, or a certain message base that they have. Like somebody like, say, Kelly Ray Roberts would be in that camp, that you come to it because of your concept and because of other things that you are doing around that. And then you're not going to do snowmen and puppies and whatever that else is, and leave that to the people that do that really well. And sometimes where people get thrown off is they're a concept artist. They are coming from this other place, and they're trying to fit themselves into this. Well, now I have to do a snowman, It's like, no, you don't. But if you are in one of those camps or the other, and sometimes you morph from one to the other. I mean, I started out my career in more of the commodity side and then morphed more into a conceptual side as I matured as a person and as I matured as an artist, or just the shift for me. It's not necessarily maturity because we know for sure that hasn't happened yet. But I mean, I morphed to that because I had more to say. And so, and it didn't fit into that anymore. And so sometimes if you're over there, you're going to present differently than the person over here. And you're not going to have this giant, huge portfolio. You're going to have this really beautifully crafted, this is my concept. Now you might have multiples of those, but it all starts with the concept, and that can be explained, shown in a 4-page PDF. And you don't have to do this whole other thing. And you don't have to show that on 50 million mock-ups, because they're either going to say yes, or they're either going to buy into that concept or they're not.
Exactly.
And so you have to remember too, and I think sometimes that gets lost in the conversation about licensing, is that there really are two tracks.
Absolutely.
So and I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to do something that just doesn't feel right for them because they think that's the only way to get there. Earlier I said there are no magic rules to how this works.
No.
These companies want good, compelling art that they can sell to their customers. They want it to retail. And so what that looks like, we don't know what that looks like yet. And it's going to change. And that's what's so exciting and was what's kept me engaged and enjoying this business, because we get to be on the forefront of that.
It's so exciting.
That was inspirational.
Ronnie, you're amazing. You're fantastic. Thank you so much for all of your insight and wisdom, and thank you again for your generosity for participating with our fiesta. And we're so excited to hopefully, if you guys like this, let us know, and maybe we'll do some more of these types of videos. So it is
now that Cherish and I have figured out the technology. Oh, wait a minute. I mean, now that Cherish has figured out the technology and I just showed up, it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And as long as Facebook doesn't change their rules in 5 minutes, we'll see what happens.
Whatever, they could. Well, this was awesome. Thank you guys. And if you have other questions, pump them in there and we will try to answer as much as we can based on, time, space, continuum. So
absolutely. You guys can reach us anytime. We're both on the Art Licensing Show and Facebook and wherever. And also we will see you maybe we'll see you on the next second Thursday chat here.
That is super fun. If you're a member, you should be on that. It's fun.
Yeah, it's a live typing chat. So it's a little bit different than this, but I think you guys will like it if you've never participated before. So, all right, cool. Ronnie, well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
have
everybody.
A wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
We're still live. We're still live. So still be charming.
It takes a minute for it to wind up. All right.
Yes. Okay.